At some point, everyone experiences suffering, whether due to personal challenges, losses, or situations that seem beyond control. Suffering can become a constant in life, but it doesn't have to define you. As Buddha said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Often, we unconsciously choose to suffer, but this choice can be changed. In this video, we'll explore how to stop suffering and start living with true happiness. Even in difficult times, suffering can be overcome, and happiness can be cultivated. Through simple, yet powerful practices, you can transform how you face challenges and begin living a life filled with joy and satisfaction. Let's embark on this journey of transformation together, where you'll learn to leave suffering behind and make room for lasting happiness. Get ready to discover the tools and mindset shifts that can lead to a fuller, more meaningful life. Understanding the choice between pain and suffering. To begin walking the path toward happiness, it's essential to understand what suffering truly is and how it manifests in our lives. Suffering goes beyond physical pain, something we carry in our minds and heart. Often, suffering results from unmet expectations, attachment to things or people, and the fears we cultivate throughout life. These feelings of attachment and fear trap us in cycles of pain and frustration. Imagine placing all your expectations on a specific outcome, whether in a relationship, a job, or a dream. When things don't go as expected, the disappointment can be overwhelming, leading to suffering. This is a common experience, but one that can be transformed. Suffering also comes from constantly comparing ourselves to others, especially in today's world of social media. This creates feelings of inadequacy and sadness, an unnecessary burden that hinders happiness. Moreover, suffering is deeply connected to our minds. Our minds often revisit past mistakes or worry about the future, creating a continuous state of dissatisfaction. This monkey mind, as it's called in Buddhism, jumps from thought to thought, never settling in peace. But the good news is that we can train our minds to break this cycle of negativity. Understanding suffering is the first step to overcoming it. Recognizing where it comes from and how it affects your life gives you the power to start making changes, transforming suffering into happiness. As we move forward, we'll explore how you can transform patterns of suffering and make room for a happier, more balanced life. Now that we understand what suffering is and how it can manifest in our lives, let's explore the crucial role the mind plays in this process. Our mind is a powerful creator of realities, but it often becomes the source of our suffering. When untrained, the mind tends to fixate on negative patterns, constantly revisiting past mistakes or creating catastrophic scenarios about the future, trapping us in a cycle of pain and worry. This behavior, known as the monkey mind, is a restless mind, jumping from thought to thought, never finding peace. It's important to understand that suffering isn't caused by circumstances themselves, but by how our mind reacts to those circumstances. For example, two people can face the same difficult situation but react differently depending on how their mind processes the experience. Those who learn to control their mind can face challenges with more serenity, while those who are controlled by their minds tend to suffer more. Fortunately, we can train our minds to break these patterns of suffering. Mindfulness is one of the most effective tools for this. It teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them, allowing us to see things as they really are, instead of getting lost in negative interpretations. Another important concept is that of limiting beliefs. Often, our suffering is fueled by beliefs that don't reflect the truth, such as, "I'm not good enough," or "this will never get better." Identifying and challenging these beliefs is crucial to freeing yourself from self-imposed suffering. By practicing mindfulness and reprogramming our minds to focus on the present, we can begin to change our life experience. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, we can learn to appreciate what's right and thus reduce our suffering. Let's dive into practical strategies you can start applying today to train your mind and transform your life, moving from a state of suffering to a state of lasting happiness. Radical acceptance. first step to inner peace. Imagine a moment in your life when everything seems to be falling apart. Maybe you've lost someone you love, faced an unexpected illness, or found yourself in a difficult financial situation. In these moments, suffering can seem inevitable. But the truth is that you have the power to transform this pain into a path toward happiness. First, let's talk about radical acceptance. When we face a crisis, our first reaction is often to resist. We want things to be different, for the pain to disappear. But resistance only increases suffering. Radical acceptance invites us to face reality head-on, acknowledging what has happened without trying to change it. Imagine you were fired from a job you love. Radical acceptance doesn't mean being passive, but rather stopping the fight against the fact that it happened. By accepting reality, you open up space for new possibilities, new opportunities that may be even more aligned with your true purpose. The next step is practicing detachment. Think of a relationship that ended, but still occupies your mind and heart. Maybe you're clinging to memories or hopes that things can go back to how they were. This attachment perpetuates suffering. Detachment doesn't mean forgetting or ceasing to love, but rather allowing life to take its natural course. By detaching, you allow new experiences and people to enter your life, bringing new opportunities for love and joy. It's like opening a window in a stuffy room. Fresh air comes in, and you feel renewed. The power of gratitude in overcoming suffering. Gratitude is the practice that reminds us that even in the darkest moments, there's always something to be grateful for. Imagine you're facing a series of difficult problems at work, financial challenges, and a general sense of discouragement. In these times, it's easy to focus on what's missing or what went wrong, but gratitude has the power to change that perspective. Instead of focusing on what's lacking, you start to recognize what's already present in your life, a supportive friend, talent you have, or even just the simple fact of being alive. Gratitude transforms the way you see the world, and over time, transforms the world around you. Building resilience, strengthening yourself in adversity. To complete this, develop resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and resilience is the quality that allows us to navigate these challenges with strength and grace. It's the ability to get up after every fall, to find light even in the darkest situations. Resilience is built when we practice self-compassion. When we treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a dear friend in difficulty. Remember that you're stronger than you think and that each challenge overcome is proof of your growth and capacity for transformation. By applying these strategies, acceptance, attachment, gratitude, and resilience, you begin to free yourself from suffering and make room for happiness. It's not an instant process, but a path that step by step leads you to a fuller and more meaningful life. A continuous choice of happiness. Pain is a part of life, but suffering is a choice you can learn to leave behind, replacing it with a happiness that comes from within and doesn't depend on external circumstances. We've reached a crucial point in our journey, understanding that happiness is, for the most part, choice. Natural to think that happiness depends on external circumstances, a good job, healthy relationships, or the absence of problems. But the truth is happiness comes from within, and you have the power to choose it every day, regardless of circumstance. Think of a day when everything seemed to go wrong, challenges at work, conflicts at home, or simply waking up feeling down. In these situations, it's easy to succumb to suffering and believe that happiness is out of reach. But here's the secret. Happiness is not something that happens to you. It's something you create. A Zen master once received a beautiful vase as a gift. One day, while meditating, he heard a loud noise and saw that the vase had fallen and shattered into 1,000 pieces. One of his disciples, seeing what had happened, asked, "Master, how can you remain so calm when something so valuable has been destroyed?" The master smiled and replied, "I had already accepted that the vase was broken the moment I received it. I appreciated its beauty, but I knew that one day it would break. By accepting its impermanence, I was able to enjoy it fully while it was whole. and now I accept its absence without suffering. This Zen story teaches us a powerful lesson about acceptance and detachment. Often, our suffering comes from our resistance to accepting the impermanence of things, whether they're objects, situations, or even relationships. When we accept the reality that everything is in constant change, we begin to release attachment and live more fully in the present. Choosing happiness begins with small changes in how you see the world. Instead of focusing on what's missing in your life, focus on what you already have. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is okay, but rather training your mind to see the blessings that often go unnoticed. Let's start with radical acceptance. Every day, take a moment to acknowledge reality as it is. If something didn't go as planned, instead of resisting, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Accepting what cannot be changed is the first step to finding inner peace and avoiding unnecessary suffering. For example, if you're facing a challenge at work, instead of lamenting, use this situation as an opportunity to grow, whether by learning a new skill or finding a new way to deal with problems. Detachment can be practiced daily through small action. When you catch yourself obsessively thinking about something that has already happened or worrying about something that hasn't yet occurred, gently remind yourself to let go. Return your focus to the present moment and trust that life will unfold as it should. Start with small steps like setting aside a few minutes each day for meditation or breathing exercises. These practices help calm the mind and reduce anxiety, allowing you to approach challenges with greater clarity and calmness. Practicing gratitude is also essential. Every day, take a moment to reflect on at least 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Perhaps a good conversation with a friend, a delicious meal, or even just a moment of peace during a busy day. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to focus on the positive aspects of life, making happiness a more natural state. Remember, the choice to be happy is something you can make every day. By incorporating these practices into your daily life, you'll be able to break free from the patterns of suffering and cultivate a deep, lasting happiness. As you continue your journey toward happiness, remember that every step counts, no matter how small. Overcoming suffering is a process that requires patience and persistence, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Keep practicing acceptance, detachment, gratitude, and resilience, and you'll see your life transform in ways you never imagined. Suffering may be a part of life, but it doesn't have to define your existence. With the right mindset and tools, you can create a life filled with joy, peace, and meaning. So, choose happiness today and every day because you deserve nothing less.